subscribe to my channel, and donate to my Patreon for my greatest cause. All right, there's a story trending in the news right now. Everybody's talking about Tyre Nichols. I have some valuable information about this story that kind of flips the coin on the narrative of the story that the media is talking about. I really believe that Tyre, I really believe that he would not be dead right now. He would still be alive if he would have complied. Ain't nobody looking at the truth and the narrative of this situation, of this story. That the only reason why he got beat like that by the police is because he took off running. He made a valuable decision as a man to swiggle from up under those officers and take off running after they had tried to arrest him and put him on the ground and pulled him out the car. Now, people may say that I'm wrong for this, but I really believe that the police union, the police union let those 5 black officers down because it was more than just those 5 black officers that was involved in this case. But we're going to review this footage of him being beaten, and I want y'all to decipher this by truth and do not try to come up with a justifiable reason or a justifiable excuse to say that he was wrong, that he was right, when you can clearly see that Tyre was wrong. All he had to do was listen to the officers and comply, and he would still be alive. But nobody wanna talk about this. But this is really based off a single home parenting. This is single mother parenting, and this is the reason why this situation escalated to the point that it did, because he had no authority or no respect for the authority of the police officers in deciding that he wanted to take it upon himself and take off running. And if anybody ever been incarcerated before, ever been beat up by the police before, 9 times out of 10, the reason why they got beat up is because they made that decision to take off running. And that's when the police get a little leeway room to beat you up, rough you up. If they catch you off in the bushes somewhere, if they catch you in a little dark alley, they gonna rough you up all the way back to the point where you back under the light. So you can just about expect to get beat up a little bit if you take off running from the police and get caught. Now, if he didn't get caught from running from the police, we wouldn't even be having this story. So I really blame Tyre for getting caught, for making a decision to run from the police and getting caught, and then getting beat up by the police. And then they took you to jail, and unfortunately he died. Now, I don't believe that these police officers should have lost their job, should have been fired. I believe that the police union should have stepped in and protected these officers, because these officers need treatment. This is more than just, this is not a racism case. I got some other information that I found out that Demetrius, the officer Demetrius, his girlfriend works at FedEx with Tyre, and that when he beat up Tyre, he took a picture of Tyre and sent it to his girlfriend. So I think, and I like I said, I'd already made this statement before, that I think something happened prior to this for that officer to have an aggressiveness, or he had some type of prior interactions with this man before, or this man did something to somebody he loved. It was more to it than this. But we're gonna watch this video and analyze it together and see if you see what I see when I talk about the truth. The truth to set you free. Sometimes it hurt, but I don't support no fuckery. I can tell y'all this right now. If a man do anything out of the norm that he don't supposed to do, a black man, especially a black man, if he can make a decision to break the law in front of the police, in front of the cameras, in front of everybody, in front of society, If he make a decision to break the law, then the police try to apprehend him. If he make a decision to try to run away from the police, now if he get away, fine and dandy. He ain't gonna get beat up. But if he do get caught, we should allow the police. That should be a bonus for all the extra work that they had to go through, for going over the call of duty for after doing their job that day. Because most of these police officers come to work in a full cleaners, creased out uniform, clean, ready, dressed to impress, looking like a public servant supposed to. They didn't come to work to get dirty. Like, a police job is not to get dirty and filthy and come home with all kind of grass stains and all kind of mud and stuff on your shoes and feet. Like, that's not the police job. At the end of the night, they're supposed to come home just as clean as they did when they left. But this in particular night, these police officers couldn't go home all clean and like they came in, because Tyrese caused them to spray themselves with mace. They had got mud and debris and green leaves and grass on their uniforms, because they had to run and catch him and run him down and tackle him down and wrestle him to the ground just to put the handcuffs on him. He had superhuman strength. And if y'all don't see this in the video, I'm going to show y'all. He really had superhuman strength, because I believe his adrenaline was rushing so much, because he knew this officer was coming to get him. You can tell. It ain't no question when he asked what I do, and you heard that officer said, "Nigga, you know what you did?" Watch this. We finna watch this in its entirety. Now watch this. First of all, I want to stop this right now, just like this. This was not no ordinary stop. See, the Scorpion unit was a special drug task force unit that was created to protect and patrol certain neighborhoods in Memphis from drugs, gang activity, prostitution, what they call women when they put women out there on the streets, sex trafficking and things like that, right? And these officers was primarily from the Memphis area, so they knew the demeanor of the people in the neighborhoods, the people in the streets. They knew the bad people. They knew the good people. So this was a valuable unit in this community that was keeping the crime rate and keeping a lot of illegal activity down, because everybody know that Memphis, at once upon a time back in the days, used to be the #1 prostitution capital of the world, where all the prostitutes, some of the biggest pimps done arrived out of Memphis, Tennessee. So we cannot exclude the history of Memphis and the corrupt neighborhoods that they have, and why they have to have police like this, police units in this neighborhood that control these neighborhoods like this, and they're aggressive toward the people like this. Now, at one point, I was thinking of scenarios why the police ran up and snatched him out the car like that. He might have been known for being around certain drug dealers, or he might have been known for being a pistol-toting gangbanger in the neighborhood. He might have been known for being a bad person who hang around bad persons, or just a person who associated himself with bad persons. But he wasn't. See, we finna watch this video, and I'm gonna show you what I mean by he would still be alive if he would have just complied. And see, when these kids are raised by a single parent mother, and these mothers put all these feminine emotions inside of their emotions and make their children feel like all they got to do is get to their mama and they can stop the police from arresting them, that they mama got the power to save them. See, that's what mama boys do. And see, that's what single parent mothers do to their children. They hoard them to be mama's boys. And see, this boy didn't have nothing else on his mind but try to get away from the police and run to his mama, and he was screaming for his mama. But that had nothing to do about the situation that he was in, legally and technically by the law. See, once the police open your car door and tell you to get out and put you on the ground and tell you to put your hands behind your back, you under arrest. It isn't for you to ask them, what did I do? I didn't do anything. It's for you to comply, because this situation ain't gonna do nothing but escalate to a worse situation. And that's where this brother went wrong at. Now you see this? Watch this. Okay, we're gonna go back all the way again. I want y'all to see how they came up. See, first of all, the reason why I say this isn't an ordinary stop, this was 3 cars that stopped him. You got one in the front that cut him off, one on the side that dang near hit him, and you got one right in the back of him where he can't bag up and go nowhere with the spotlight directly on him, beaming real hard so he can't look in his rearview mirror. Get out the motherfucking car. All right, you said, all right. You see, at first, when he realized the police wasn't playing, at first he wanted to say, I ain't do nothing. But then when he snatched him and grabbed him, because he snatched him out the car, he was still in his seatbelt. He never detached his seatbelt. He pulled him out of the seatbelt. That was a strong police officer to pull a man completely out of the seatbelt without detaching the seatbelt. But he pulled him out of the seatbelt, right? And he told him right then at that point, Tyre knew he was in trouble. And he told the police, all right, I comply, man. Listen, all right, listen. You don't do that, okay? Get on the ground. Get on the ground. I'm gonna tase your ass. I'm on the ground. Lay down. Get on the ground. Right there. You see this? Why wouldn't he get on the ground? He was rolled over on his hands and stomach. Then he turned back over on his side, resisting arrest from the police, resisting the police. All you got to do is comply. When he snatched him out the car by the back of his neck, he said, okay, officer. Then it's either he was trying to prevent the police from arresting him when he can't get out of this situation at this point. You got to comply. Look, what? Okay, see, what the police just did to him, they did a tactic where they grabbed his hand and they turned it and they used that nerve and pinched it and they turned it. See, that's a tactic that the police use to make you submit. And he had started to submit. He was like, all right. But then if you wiggle in the opposite direction of the way that he's holding your hand, you can slide up out of that grab. It's not that hard. And as you can see, this is what he did next. Watch this. Put your hands behind your back. I'm trying to you guys are really doing a lot right now. Bro, lay down. All you got to do is lay down. If you don't lay down, I am on the ground. Put your hands and get on your stomach. Spray his ass. Spray him. Now, you see that? He had superhuman strength. Did you see that? Right then, he took off running. They was tasing him. It was like 4 officers shooting him with tasers at the same time. And he had superhuman strength. He did this. And he ripped out his shirt like a stripper and just threw it down and kept on running like the tasers didn't phase him. Man, that was superhuman strength. That would have scared me if I was an officer. If I was an officer, I would have been real scared. Did y'all see that? Look at this. He just ripped off his shirt and took off running. This boy had superhuman strength. So, we're going to rewind this back, and I want to show you at the point where he fucked up. Some kind of way, he wiggles off the ground, gets up, and take off. Look. That right there, at that point right there, is when he fucked up. Is when he know he fucked up. See, sometimes when you decide to make a decision to run from the police, see, these police, 95% of the chance they already know they gonna catch you. You wanna know why? You may can outrun them on foot, but you can't outrun that radio. And that radio and the police helicopter, once they get in the air and get to putting infrared beams around and find your actual location, you ain't going to get away. They gonna still catch you, and when they catch you, they gonna beat you up. That is police protocol. That's called getting a little extra, getting a little extra steam off your chest for making criminals make you work hard. Police practice to whoop people ass. They practice to physically be able to defend themselves. Like they practice this amongst each other in the academies, in extra training and extracurricular training that they have to go through. They have to stay in physical fit because there's a lot of men in the world, in America, that's really physically fit and have a little fighting abilities and fighting skills, and then people will mess you up. So in this process, when he took off running, you could hear the police say in the background, "Run, nigga, run." Run. This is that point that they all practice for. Then when they do them stimulation training in the police training academy, they train to how to catch a criminal if they take off running. So when they catch you, they gonna always look around and see if any cameras is around. But if ain't no cameras around, they gonna beat you up for brownie points, for extra boom, 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 rough him up, boom, 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 boom. What do you think? Like, this is what you get for running from the police. Now, if he'd have never ran from the police, if he would have just complied, this black man would still be alive. But this is what happens when the government remove all of the black fathers out of the families, and mothers try to teach their sons how to be men. When a woman can't teach a man how to be a man by using another stepfather, a man who's not his father, she done put him in her house and made him the head of the house when she should have made her son the head of the house. But she got another man in her house claiming to be his stepdaddy. And at first, in the narrative of this story, he said that he was Tyre's father. Come to find out, let a couple of days play out, this man is this man's stepfather. I looked at that man the first time and said, man, that man don't look nothing like Tyre. Then he on TV doing interviews in brand new $200 Ralph Lauren shirts every day. He popping new tags, telling his wife, baby, we getting to the money. Because this is all about the civil lawsuit that they finna put on the Memphis Police Department for wrongful death of their son, when right before Tyrese died, I bet you, I feel like, and I truly believe that his mother was on his head about getting out of her house, going to get his own place, doing something as a man, going to start your own life. You got a job. When are you gonna move out and do something for yourself? Ain't no man 30 years old staying at home with his mama and his mama ain't telling him you need to get out and go get your own house. When are you gonna decide to go out and do something for yourself? Like, a job ain't enough. Just having a job and still staying at home with your parents, that ain't enough. You need to be And that's what his problem was. See, he was a mama's boy. And she admit that he was a mama's boy. Oh, my baby was a mama's boy. He had my name tattooed on his arm. He had Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease ain't finna get you more money when you file for wrongful death. That's actually gonna devalue your lawsuit, because that shows the devalue of his body, of his worth as a human being. If he had Crohn's disease, that means he couldn't even work. He was eventually his bones was going to deteriorate, and he wasn't going to be able to work no more. He was going to have to receive disability and feed off the American taxpayers for the rest of his life. But people think that, that if this story right here don't have other meanings behind it, that the Democrats ain't using Tyrese, his mama, their stepfather, the news media, this whole story, just to stir up the conversation of police reform. And you can't reform a police department, a police system that was created in corruption to patrol and to police Negroes from being outside at night, from wandering the public streets, not being able to walk on highways. The police, all police departments, was developed and formed to police Negroes and protect the property, not the people. The police are not there to protect the people. The sheriffs are there to protect the people. The police are there to protect the property and serve, serve the law of the land so they can make more money by finding people, sending people giving people infractions, making them go to the courts, and they getting fined. See, the police force is nothing but a business for profit. They're not a non-profit organization. They're business for profit. They go out and they take money and they make money. They tow people cars for not having license and insurance, and they get the money from the benefits, from the proceeds of the sales of the cars. The police make money. They take money from drug dealers. They take money from confiscating illegal goods. Like, y'all think the police was made to protect and serve the people? No, they here to protect and serve the property. The sheriff may protect the people if they around and if they in the presence, but they not here for that. See, and a lot of people don't understand, and all these black people is trying to how do you say, come up with a justifiable excuse to say that Tyrese was right from running from the police and not owning up to the responsibility of admitting that he was wrong for trying to get up and run from the police, because he wouldn't have been that severely beaten if he would have just complied. He would still be alive. Don't you believe that? I truly believe it so heartily. And it's more to it than this story, because I told you, I read this information that found out. They say it's a Twitter story that's trending. Somebody might have made it up. I don't know. But I read this with my own two eyes, that Demetrius, the officer that beat him up, took a picture of Tyre and sent it to his girlfriend. So I don't know what led to this. I don't know if Tyrese flirted with this girl while he was at work, got smart, sarcastic with her. They said that he lived his life freely. He lived his life abundantly. So it's assumptions in here that we have to really we got to assume that there was more than just, it was just like a random traffic stop that got this man beat up the way he got beat up. Now, a lot of people think I'm wrong for not accepting the narrative of the story, that we need police reform, that was police brutality, that was racial hate. There was nothing racial about this story, especially when you find out moments later that it was white officers involved that wasn't even charged. No, they was just dismissed of their duties. This was a Democrat Antifa. See, this is what Antifa does. See, this is a Democrat Antifa move, political move, to stir up the conversation of police reform, so they can have another conversation, a chit-chatter that do not matter to the American people. So they can talk about, oh man, we need police reform for all the black people that's being killed. Nope. If we're going to do anything about a police reform, that means we got to abolish the police department in entirety. That's all across America, and make all the police sheriffs if they qualify. Don't you know that most police do not qualify to be a sheriff? Most of the police officers in the LAPD wouldn't even make it past the sheriff exam or the sheriff physical fitness test that they gotta do working for the Los Angeles Sheriff Department. See, they go through a more prestigious training because they are more prestigious. They have more territory, more range. The sheriffs, they have to sheriff the land. So most of the LA Police Department, LAPD, man, they become a police in less than 2 years. They behind the cars, patrolling the streets. 5 years later, they a detective. 10 years later, they in homicide. Like, you got to understand that these officers aren't qualified from day one to be on the streets policing anyone, because polices are psychologically taught to police the people, police the laws of the land on the people. And the people that they want to impose the laws of the land on the most are the poor people, because those are the only ones that's walking around on the land. Rich people ride around in good cars and helicopters and planes. They don't even be on land. But people don't think like that. They think this is a. But we gonna watch the rest of this truly ass whooping that they served him, because they served him a real ass whooping for no apparent. Well, they didn't say it wasn't no apparent reason. If he wouldn't have ran, it wouldn't have never happened. Did you catch him?
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, clip.
See, this is a part of the story that people don't want to talk about. You know, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And the police was wrong for over extensively beating him the way they did. But they also was doing their job. They was apprehending a suspect that was driving radically, you know, reckless driving. Reckless driving can be driving 15 miles over the speed limit. He could have been riding 20 miles over the speed limit. How many people you know that feel like they privileged, that get in a car and speed and do not drive and follow the speed limits of the laws? Don't follow the laws of the streets. Like, but don't get upset if you accidentally going down the street and a police is coming up across street and you shoot past him doing 50 in a 30 miles per hour zone. You are recklessly driving. You driving recklessly. It might take a second for the police to get behind you because you already speeding, and they got to get in the velocity of your speed to catch up with you. So if you're doing 50, they got to do at least 75, 80 just to catch up with you. So therefore, they taking a chance on endangering their life for having to speed up to catch up with you. So you got to understand the adrenaline rush that the police go through when they do stop someone. And you can tell he had to be riding for a while in order for them to call for backup. The need existed. How do you say? They needed his assistance in catching him. So by the time they did stop him, he had two more units to come catch up with him to catch this guy. So I believe that this guy was driving kind of radically. Probably this guy knew when the police tried to pull him over a long time ago. He knew who the police was because of the situation that may have happened at work with that guy's girlfriend. Like, you know, I believe that it was something else more to it than this story than what the media is telling. And every day they add more and more to it that flip a coin on this story and change the whole narrative. Like, there is 7 more officers other than the 5 officers that's been arrested and charged with second-degree murder, which is not going to stick, kidnapping, which is not going to stick, aggravated assault, which is not going to stick. Like, all these charges are irrelevant to the actual case in the matter. If anybody understands law, this was a personal beating by Demetrius himself. He hit him more than any other officer out there. Why was Demetrius continuously just beating on this man? And he stood him up and beat him like several times. Get up, bam, 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 bam. Get up, bam, 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 bam. I told you. Like, he told him what? And he kept on telling him, I told you, I told you. So when people think about, you know, all people see is, you know, and I'm so tired of hearing them compare this story to Emmett Till. This has nothing to do to Emmett Till. This is more comparative to George Floyd. The same thing that happened to George Floyd, if he would have complied, he would still be alive. I do not justify no brother or sister or anyone else who choose to make a decision to break the law. and not comply when the law has caught up with you. If the law catch up with you, you just gotta submit, be a man, be a woman, take your butt to jail, go in there with your chin high, and you'll come out the same way if you're a real one. But a lot of y'all ain't real. The biggest problem with most people, they afraid to go to jail. I'm talking about terrified, horrified, or what might happen to them if they go to jail. Man, you don't take your scary butt and take your scary butt to jail, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to jail anyway. So you might as well not fight the feeling, not fight the grain, not fight the motions, because that's your problem. That's the problem with everybody in America, especially black people. They always trying to jump in the narrative of the motion. Like, everybody, y'all wrong. The black officers, they need prayer. We need to pray for those black officers. Those officers need help. And they shouldn't have been fired. The police union should have stepped up and protected them. And I think they should have been suspended. But I also think that they should have went to therapy. They should have got anger management. They should have got retrained again. They shouldn't have got fired. They shouldn't have been illegally charged as criminals, because they are not criminals. They are exempt to the law. Those officers served a good deed to those communities, and they had to be aggressive like that in order for them to take control, in order to have, a foothold in that community, to keep the crime rate down. Now, just imagine what's going on now in that community. Now that they done shut down the Scorpion unit, prostitution is finna go up, armed robbery finna go up, burglaries are finna go up. These people are finna start having a way, and in less than 6 months, the citizens in Memphis is gonna be crying that they need police protection because they got too much crime going on in their neighborhood. And Biden finna send a whole bunch of immigrants to Memphis to flood the city, to fill in all the extra spaces. And they ain't gonna have the Scorpion unit to protect those communities no more, to run those immigrants out, to run those drug dealers out, to get those prostitutes off the street from sex traffickers. They ain't gonna be able to do none of that no more. So this whole neighborhood finna go into shambles. A lot of citizens, a lot of American citizens is finna get hurt. African Americans, y'all finna be hurt. Y'all hurt yourselves by listening to what these Antifa people, which is a bunch of white people. These are a bunch of white racist people. These are a bunch of white people that just try to take advantage of every narrative of a black person being abused by the police. Now, if you look at the riots, and if you look at the protests that's being assembled, they even being assembled by white protest organizers. Why? Why are white protest organizers setting up protests, getting protest permits for a black man who was killed by 5 police officers? Y'all wonder why I wear this hat right here, huh? Yeah, because I truly believe, I've been to prison 6 times, and I admit that I'm a career criminal, right? I'm a ex-felon. I'm a criminal. I'm a bad person, right? That used to be a bad person. And I know that Donald Trump was a criminal, right? He just never got caught for none of his crimes. There's a lot of criminals that get caught, and there's a lot of criminals that don't get caught. And I respect criminals that become gangsters and wash their dirty money and become politicians and put on suits. That's a gangster. That's what gangsters do. Gangsters don't, we don't continue to make dirty money in the street. We wash our money, and we become politicians and take care of our neighborhoods and take care of our people. But that's what all those gangsters in our politics have done. Those are gangsters. Yeah. Larry Hoover style. People don't understand what I'm talking about, but it'll come to you. It really will come to you. That's the way gangsters become gangsters. We don't stay in the streets running criminal enterprises. No, we wash this up, and we turn these into political enterprises, and we become political figures in the political field. And once you get into the political realm, you're tax exempt, tax free. Your family is exempt from all the BS that could happen to the average American, it'll never happen to you. Long as you're in the realm of our government, you're protected by the government. And see, that's what a lot of people don't understand. See, the things I talk about is to expose all, the right, the left. I don't care about nobody. I really don't. You know, I'm a prejudiced person. I choose to be prejudiced. I don't like black people. I don't like white people. I don't like Asian people. I don't like Hispanic. I don't like nobody. I'm prejudiced. I'm a man. I got the God-given American right to be prejudiced to anybody that I don't like. And if I don't like you, I just don't like you. It's not based because of the color of your skin or how, nah. It's how you think. It's how you act. It's what you accept. It's how you react to things. You know, I can decipher if I don't like a man by watching them from a distance. They actions speak louder than words. Yeah. So I tell everybody, man, I'm going to wrap this up. This is the Holyfield News, and I want to drop a bomb on y'all. I guess I'm the only black man in America that see the wrong in this video. There's nothing right about Tyre Nichols running from the police, getting beat up by the police. The only person who was wrong was Tyrese. He shouldn't have never ran. He shouldn't have never been a mama's boy. He shouldn't have never screamed for his mama after he done got himself in some trouble. Your mama can't save you. And I mean, you just think about it. Think about how many mama boys it is in America right now. Mama boys. That's what they is. Mama boys. Raised by a single black mama. And without the man in the household to teach these men, young men, how to be respectful, how to understand if they get themselves in a situation with law enforcement, how to comply, how to talk their way out of it, you know. One thing about it, if you didn't commit a crime that will take you off the streets for the rest of your life, you will live another day. You will see another day. You will get out, you know. And if you was right, then take your case to court and tell it to the judge. And the judge will, you know, make the right decision. They ain't gonna charge you with nothing that you didn't do unless you admit to it. But it was more to it in this story. And a lot of people may disagree. A lot of people might say that I'm wrong. But who's gonna say that I'm right when I'm looking at the right side of this video? What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. All Tyre had to do was comply, and he would still be alive. If he would have complied, he might have got roughed up a little bit, but he wouldn't have died. And I'm so tired of all these black people trying to get 15 seconds of fame, talking about police brutality. The police need to change the way they act and treat black people. No, everybody get their butt whooped if they take off and make a decision to take off running from the police. That's the repercussions of the consequences that's going to happen if you get caught. So why would you feel sorry for a man that took off and running? He tried to run home. If he was smart, he would have ran in another direction. Why would you go home, had the police chase you all the way to your mama house, and then you get up to the porch and you done left your keys in the car, you can't get in the door, they gonna beat you down at the door, so your mama come to the door. This man really thought if he made it to his mama house, his mama would have saved and stopped the police from arresting him. That's what mama boys do. That's the way mama boys think. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna end mine. The police, and we need to pray for the police, and we need to come up with a special fund to defend these police, because these police officers are better than Tyre Nichols. These young brothers went to school, went to college. They dedicated their lives to not breaking the law, to doing everything they supposed to do to get to that point to become a police officer. They got children, they got wives, they got lives, they got houses, mortgages, bills, family members that they love. These are not criminals. These was people that was trained to have this type of behavior because of the criminals that have a worse behavior in the streets. But nobody's going to defend these officers. Man, I really feel sorry for these brothers. And I really, you know, the Holyfield News, we going to pray for these brothers, because these brothers need prayer, solitude, and really they need rehab. They need counseling. These brothers, now they traumatized because now they incarcerated, or they got incarcerated and had to bond out of jail, had to submit all their guns. Now you got the world mad at me saying that I done racially beat this man up and police brutality when I didn't. I beat him up because I was doing my job and he complied. He wouldn't comply and he took off running. And when I ran around the corner to try to catch him, he fought back. They said he was fighting. He had superhuman strength. You seen he had superhuman strength. This man ripped his shirt off like the Incredible Hulk, and took off running with 5 tasers shooting him at the same time. He didn't feel nan one of those tasers. Now, I see if the man died from cardiac arrest after the fact he got hit with 5,000 volts of taser action, but he didn't die from cardiac arrest. He didn't die. He didn't die from head blunt trauma, eternal bleeding. You know how he died? He died because they put him on a ventilator machine, and that ventilator machine suppressed his breathing. He died because the injuries didn't even call for a ventilator machine. Now his kidneys shut down and he went into cardiac arrest. That sound like the medication. That sound like the vaccine he probably got shot with, because a lot of people is falling out having cardiac arrest if they go through a high adrenaline moment, a high when they experience something real dramatic in their life, like, and they have to run for their life and they breathing real hard. A lot of people that's been, hit with that thing, been vaccine, are falling out in multiple numbers for cardiac arrest issues. They can't breathe, then they collapse. Like, I believe that jab, is another reason that caused his death, because if he didn't have that jab, he would have been able to run a little bit longer. And because that medicine, it suppresses the lungs and the capacity of the airwaves and all. Like, so it's a lot of things that's going on in the world. But right is right, wrong is wrong. And us as a black community, we gotta support what's right. And we gotta decipher when we see something that's wrong, admit to it, agree to it, and say, yeah, that's wrong. I can't support that. I can't support that. Nah, brother. nah. And I can't get behind that. So in truth, in reality, there is not a lot of black people protesting behind this Tyre Nichols dude. Nah. These are Antifa white organizers that's getting permits from the cities to organize. They doing it by the book, by the bang. And they telling them, man, 10,000 people may show up, 2,000 people may show up. This is Antifa working for the benefit of the Democrats to stir up police reform conversation. That's it. You cannot change the police system that was created corruptly from day one. It was created to protect and to police Negroes, the Negroes of America, and the indigenous Indians, the indigenous people that was already here. That's what the police was created for. So the only thing we can do to have a proper solution to this whole matter is to abolish the police in its entirety. Every police department must shut down, and all the police officers must go to the sheriff department and requalify or re-sign up to be a sheriff. And whatever the steps is for them to be a sheriff, they got to go through the same procedures and protocol. And we're going to have nothing but sheriffs, and they'll rule the land sheriff-wise. Like, we don't need police. The police department is a business for profit. They arrest people, they pull over people, they give them citations, and every citation they give comes with a fine, and all that revenue that they make, that they bring in, yeah. You see all that money that the police departments make? And they keep saying that they need more money, but they spending 300 million in cars every year. They need guns, they buying all these, like, yeah. Now they buying robots, and I forgot to tell y'all, AI about to take over. Like, they got these robot dogs that's finna start, like, for real. And then in the military, they got some with guns on them. Like, It's a lot of things going on that the world don't know about, and they trying to, use these type of stories to distract us from the real news that's really going on. But if you can't help but to agree, if you disagree, then you're trying to come up with a justifiable excuse for his wrong. And that's not right. What's right is right and wrong is wrong. And Tyrese Nichols was completely wrong when he refused to comply with the police and be arrested. When he got up and took off running, he was wrong. So at that moment, if you ain't never experienced by being in the custody of the police and they're trying to arrest you, and then you make a bright-eyed decision to take off running to try to get away, now if you get caught, what happens? 99.9% of every man that took off running from the police, if the police caught them, they beat their ass upside down, inside out, hit them in the ribs, punched them in the leg, stomped on their feet, poked them in the neck, hit them in their eye, poked them in their ear, punched them in the back of their head. They try to hit you in every place that they can hit you at, where you can say, well, or where they can say, oh, he hit his head he hit his head getting in the car, or he hit his head coming through the door, he hit his head refusing to come in, like he hit his head on the concrete. Like, they know where to hit you at, and they gonna do it. They ain't abusing their power. They actually using their power because you made them use more energy than they had to at the end of the day. And I support the police. I support those police officers. I really wish that they would drop those charges, and we're going to have to come at this story in a whole nother light, because all those police officers should be reinstated. They should go to therapy, get rehab, go seek counseling. They should put them through counseling. They might be suspended and put them on desk duty for about a year, but I believe that they shouldn't shut down that Scorpion unit, that they should keep that active for the community and to protect the community from what it was made for. And also, we got to come together as a black community and stop accepting and jumping on the normal narrative of the media, because the media said he was a skateboarder, he was this, he was that. Every action causes a reaction. Every reaction is caused by an action. So the way this police officer snatched this man out his car, beat this man up, beat him royally, and told him to put his hands down behind his back, you under arrest. They laid him down on the ground at first. At first, he was complying. When he had him by the back of his neck, he was like, oh, okay, officer. Like, I done broke this video down to y'all like 5 different ways. And I done put every scenario in this story the way it should be put. Ain't nobody talking about the truth in this story. Everybody is going with the narrative for 15 seconds of fame, just so they can say, police brutality, the police is racist, the police hate us. The police is not racist. Everybody knows somebody who's a police officer. And all police officers are not bad. It may be some bad people in the police force, but not all police officers are bad. They not. I done met some police officers, man, that was so cool, man. I really almost shedded a tear when I walked away from them, because I knew the danger of what type of job that they have, and that some of these officers sometimes would leave and never make it back home. And, it's real dangerous. It's a dangerous position. I feel for the officers, just like I feel for Tyre. Like, I feel bad that he died. The brother shouldn't have died, And that's another, I blame that on him too. Like, sometimes people's death is caused by themselves for not having a lack of knowledge. A lack of knowledge is the destruction of our people. If Tyre knew, like, the average, you could tell he was a square boy. He was a mama kid. He was raised in a house. He wasn't like an active, like, gangbanger, real bad person, right? You can tell, because he ain't had no tuck and cover skills. He didn't know how to tuck his head from the police from kicking him. Like, he didn't know how to put himself in a cannonball position to protect himself. You can kick me in the ribs. You can kick me in the side. You can kick me in my back. But you ain't finna kick me in my chin. You ain't finna kick me in my face. You ain't finna kick me in my neck. You ain't finna kick me nowhere in my stomach. Like I'd have gotten that ball, that bowling ball, that cannonball lock, and it'd have took 8 men to pry me a loose. But you can tell he didn't have no defensive skills. That's another reason why he got, messed up real bad. He didn't have no defensive skills, and it was sad, man. But he did something. That just didn't happen for nothing. Every action causes a reaction, and every reaction is caused by an action. And I keep telling people this. It's a lot of things in this story. It's just in the next couple of days that's finna play out. Because now they done fired 2 more officers, which was white. Now, if this story started out with 7 officers that got fired and charged with murder, aggravated assault, kidnapping, which ain't none of those charges gonna stick. The only charge that I see that's gonna stick on this, and that's if the jury is given instructions that they can consider manslaughter charges. Only one would be convicted of manslaughter. That's Demetrius. The way Demetrius beat him, I think if they count the licks, the man was hit about 96 times, and Demetrius hit him 85. You know what I mean? Demetrius had a personal vendetta against this guy, and he beat him ridiculously, stupidly. That boy had so many ooey knots going across his head, on the side of his face, up under the back of his ear, like it wasn't another place that officer or them officers could have hit that boy at. And that's a sad thing, but it's also it's just a tragedy. But it's no mistakes on the police officer have. Like, it's not the police officer's fault that he died. It's really his own fault for running from the police, making that decision upon himself to take a break for it. And when you take a break for it and you get caught, man, don't ask us for no sympathy, bro. Your ass got caught, bro. You deserve to get your ass whooped. That's what every real nigga, hood nigga, any nigga that see your ass take off running from the police. If you ever take off running, you better have some feet skills, boy. You better know how to get away. And you can ask the police about me. I done got caught running from the police. I think it was, what, one time. I think it was. Yeah, it was one time. One good time, yeah. No, twice. I take that back. I got my ass whooped both times that I took off running from the police and got caught. But I done took off running from the police at least 12 times, and I ain't never got caught. Not after that. Like, no. They could have set an example. They didn't have to beat him that bad. They could have beat him bad enough where he wouldn't have tried, where if he'd have tried it again, he'd have thought, he'd have really, built his skills up. Like, I used to practice running and everything after I practiced, I built my skills up to get away from the police. I wasn't finna just let them run up on me like that again, man. Like, I trained myself to run faster, to run harder, how to jump fences, how to jump over ditches. Like, I trained myself extensively, military style. I watched military training videos on YouTube. I did all kind of stuff to better myself, And that's what's wrong with a lot of these black men today in America. They ain't doing nothing to better themselves. They don't believe in goals. They don't write down their goals. They don't try to accomplish their goals. They don't try to set their goals. They don't even know what a goal is. That's why most of them ain't got nothing going for themselves, And I'm not mad at them, but I wish they'd wake up, smell the coffee, and get around brothers that's doing something. That's doing something for themselves and not working and being dependent on other people, being dependent on a boss man or a boss. You got to be an independent black man, being able to sustain and operate and survive in this America by yourself. That's a strong, independent black man. You know what I mean? Like, when you don't need nobody, that's dependent. That's independent, man. When people need you, that's love, bro. Like, I just don't know what it feel like to have a job because I ain't never had one. And a couple jobs that I did sign up for, I started them, and I worked for, to the first work break, and I walked off the job. I had one job that I tried to work as a welder. I worked there for about a year and a half. And that job paid me real good, like $26, $37 an hour, right? I work overtime, I get $37 an hour. And all the other jobs in Mississippi, they only started out about $8, $7.50, $9. And I couldn't work for no little, all the work that you got to do for $9 an hour, $7.50. Like, all these other little jobs, they get in there and as soon as you get in there and they tell you to put the uniform on, go in the back, and when they start working you, I'm talking about they slave working. You gotta go up, down, on the side of the mountains, all the way back to Mars and come back down to Earth. They want you to do all this stuff to go sideways for $7.50 an hour. I can't do it. I can't do it. I won't do it. My mind won't let me. How many hours I work? 3 hours? $7.50. That's $21. That's enough for me to get a double up. I can get a $20 double up from my homeboy, and I can make $60 off that. And I get back in the game. I take that 60 and turn that 60 to 120. And I turn around and take that 120, buy me a quota. I spend 100 on a quota. I'm gonna make 400. Then I turn around and take that 400 and buy me a half ounce. And I'm gonna turn around and cut like 1,200 out of half ounce. Man, I just feel like I'd rather, and that was the way that we was taught. That was the norm for us in our neighborhood, in our environment when we was kids. Just sell some crack and we'll make some money, and we'll be right on like we need to. Just all I need is $20 just to give me a double up. You know how many times I fell off and had to start all over again from scratch? Like, yeah, man. So I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna tell y'all like this before I end mine. There's a lot of black people in the world that do wrong things. There's a lot of black people in the world that make bad decisions. But know this and believe this. If you ever make a decision to take off running from the police, you better know how to run. You better have skills, and you better not get caught. Because if you do, 99.9 times out of 10, they gonna beat your ass, man. They gonna beat you like you stole something. They gonna set an example out of you. You ain't gonna never do it again. Not to them. And that's just protocol. And that's been that way for ever since the police was created. And I'm telling you, man, sometimes the police, they already know they got running skills. Then some of these police running 4.2s in a flat. Like, y'all better wake up. Like, these officers got skills with uniform on. They running a 4.2. Like, y'all better understand. Like, Then some of these officers will laugh at you when you take off running, because they already know they gonna catch you. They'll let you get 10 yards ahead of them. Now I'm finna go catch you. Watch this. And they'll put the camera start rolling, and they hawk your ass down. So don't you be upset if the police whoop you down and they beat you a little too rough and you lose an arm or you lose an eye or you mess around and lose your life. I don't justify nobody that does wrong things. If he was right, if the police was, wrong on a whole nother matter, they wasn't wrong for doing their job, trying to comply, whooping a man's ass for running. Like, they wasn't wrong at all for that. No. And they did not know they was gonna die. It was like they stumped him out in the alley and he died in the alley. No, that didn't happen. He died at the hospital days later. I think that the hospital killed him by putting a respirator on him. I believe his kidneys shut down because he probably was vaccinated. I believe that, it's a lot of things in his story, and it wasn't those police officers' fault. He might have had drugs in his system. He might have had alcohol in his system. It was something. Because 1 + 1 don't add up to 3. It's really 4, because you got to count the 2 in the cross when you plus. Like people don't understand that everything what you think it is ain't what it appear to be. So I'm going to let y'all go. If you like anything I said, if you disagree with anything I said, leave a comment in the comment section. Donate to my Patreon. This is Mr. Snaggerpuss Comedy. I am here. I talk black and I talk back. And I've been to prison 6 times, Jack. And I came out the same way I walked in, all 6 times, asshole intact. I like people to know that in the whole while I was locked up in prison for the 17 years, God protected me, did nothing happen. I watched all kind of brothers get raped, sodomized, beat, stabbed, killed, and did nothing happen to me. So people ask me, say, why did God allow nothing to happen to you when you was in prison for all those years? And I tell them, because I was a child of God. I was protected by his word, by his blood. I believed in him. I prayed to him, and he protected me throughout the whole ordeal. And it became a journey in my life, and that's the way I look at it. When I went to prison, I remember when I came in, and I remember that day I got out. And when I walked out the gate, It felt like a bad dream. And God told me, see, it could be worse. God bless y'all. And subscribe to my channel, Mr. Snaggerpuss Comedy.